Hello everyone, this will be the 15th chapter of The Second Life of the Guardian, written and read by Insect Overlord. This chapter is titled, You Are Who You Choose to Be, and has content warnings for mentioned murder. It was August once more, and the paranoia surrounding Izuku's missing classmate had subsided. The boy hadn't been found, but no other children had gone missing. Technically, Izuku was allowed to walk to school alone again, but he found he enjoyed Shinso's company. It was during one of their common detours to the park when Shinso confided in Izuku. I want to tell you a secret, but you have to promise not to tell anyone. Her quiet voice cut off Izuku's ramble on Bali and Wales. Izuku was quick to reassure her. Whatever she wanted to tell Izuku, it must be important. She hardly ever talked about herself. Of course, I won't tell anyone, Izuku promised. He was good at keeping secrets. Shinso took a deep breath. Sometimes when my mom's at work and I'm home alone, that sounds unsafe. Shinso was only 5.5. I put on boys' clothes I took from my dad before he left, she confessed. That didn't sound bad. Izuku wore his mom's clothes all the time. Why was Shinso nervous to tell him? Oh, okay. Don't worry, that's not weird. I do that with my mom's clothes too. Sometimes she lets me do fashion shows for her. Izuku reassured her. He didn't want Shinso to think she was weird. Clothes were just clothes. Anyone could wear them. Izuku's words didn't comfort her, though. If anything, Shinso looked frustrated. No, that's not... She took a deep breath. I don't just wear his clothes. I pretend I'm a boy. I want to be a boy, like you. He clarified. Oh. Marinette's friend Luca was trans, and Izuku himself wasn't really a girl or a boy. This could be something he could help with. That's okay, too, he soothed. You can be a boy if you want to. Want me to tell you a secret? Shinso nodded eagerly. Izuku leaned in and cupped his hand over his ear. I'm not a boy either. Shinso's eyes widened. Do you want to be a girl like I want to be a boy? He vibrated with excitement. Izuku shook his head, and he deflated slightly. No, I'm not a girl or a boy. Or maybe I'm both. I don't really know. Izuku wasn't sure how to explain his gender to himself, much less to a 5-year-old. But you can call me a boy or a girl. I don't mind either. Shinso nodded in understanding. They swung on the swings for a few more minutes before Izuku realized something. Hey, what's your name? Shinso tilted his head. Hina doesn't sound like a boy's name. You can keep it if you want, but you can also change it, Izuku clarified. Shinso curled his lip at the name, but brightened at Izuku's suggestion. Really? I can do that? I thought only parents could name people. He sounded confused. Izuku nodded and started swinging again. Yeah, you can just start telling people your new name. But to get it to say the right thing on, your birth certificate, you would need your mom's help, and she probably wouldn't do it till you're older, he explained. Oh, Shinso looked disappointed. They stayed quiet for a few more minutes before Izuku dragged his feet on the ground to stop swinging. Oh my Kwami, I have the best idea, he exclaimed. His excitement must have been contagious because Shinso brightened considerably. What is it? He asked eagerly. Let's go to my house. You can wear some boy clothes that actually fit you, and I can cut your hair too if you want. Izuku jumped up and held out his hand. Shinso took it, but looked wary. I do want to wear your clothes, but do you even know how to cut hair? He asked, raising an eyebrow. Rude. Izuku will have him know he cut his own hair as Marinette. It took a hell of a steady hand to cut fabric. Izuku was practically a professional. He placed his free hand on his hip and stuck it out. Don't worry about that. I know a lot about cutting hair. Shinso took the offered hand and shrugged. Okay, I trust you. Izuku smiled. Only his mom was home at Izuku's apartment, so he had her call Shinso's mom to let her know where he was. From there, he let his friend try on a bunch of his clothes. His room was a mess by the time Shinso found an outfit. A purple t-shirt with a cat lifting weights his dad had got him, and a pair of green cargo pants. It didn't quite match, but Shinso was happy. When they made their way into the bathroom, Izuku tried to convince Shinso to put on something different so the clothes he liked wouldn't get hair on them, but Shinso refused. So Izuku did his best to wrap the towel tight around his friend's neck and back. Izuku stood up on the toilet to reach into the cabinet above, pulling out the basket of hair stuff. Using a comb and scissors, Izuku cut his friend's hair. It wasn't perfect, given Izuku had the fine motor skills of a 5-year-old, but Shinso loved it. Besides, Izuku was 90% sure getting a bad first haircut was a rite of passage for trans people. Because Shinso still refused to take off his new outfit, Izuku helped him wash his hair in the sink instead of having him shower. As Izuku added his dad's product to Shinso's hair, he spoke to his friend. "You know, if you want, you can tell my mom you're a boy," Izuku offered. At seeing his friend's panicked face, he continued, "She will be nice about it, I promise. She lets me buy skirts and dresses, so she won't care. It will be good practice for when you tell your mom." Shinso relaxed minutely before nodding. "Okay." Izuku's mom didn't look surprised to see Shinso with short hair. She had probably heard them talking and definitely heard the hairdryer. She did, however, look impressed. "My word, your hair looks so handsome." Shinso preened at the words. She turned to Izuku. "Did you do that haircut, Izuku, honey? That's impressive." "Yep, I'm good at cutting hair." Izuku puffed out his chest. "See, Shinso? I told you I could do it," he added, turning to his friend. Shinso huffed but agreed. Then he seemed to steel himself for his next words. "Midoriya-san, can I tell you something?" he asked quietly. Inko seemed to notice the weight of his question because she frowned and nodded seriously. "You can tell me anything, honey. Is something wrong?" Shinso took a deep breath, then rushed out, "I'm a boy." Inko relaxed at that, probably worried he would say something more concerning. "Okay." Shinso frowned. "Okay?" he echoed. Inko smiled. "You can be anything you want. If you want to be a boy, that's okay. If you change your mind later and want to be a girl again, that's okay too. I won't tell you who you are, Shinso-kun. Only you can do that." Izuku's mom was so wise. Shinso sniffed and rubbed at his eyes, and Izuku gave him a side hug. "Thanks, Midoriya-san." Izuku's mom smiled. "Call me Inko, hun. What about you? What do you want to be called?" Shinso shrugged. "I don't know. Izuku said I can pick my own name, but I don't know what to pick," he explained. "You don't have to pick now," Izuku cut in. "I can just call you Shinso until you find the right one." They spent the next hour talking together. Izuku had never seen Shinso talk so much. He looked so happy, and Izuku was glad he could be a part of what put that smile on his face. When Izuku's dad came home, Shinso said his goodbyes and walked down the stairs to his apartment. His mom wasn't home much, so family dinners were important to them. Izuku would find out later just how final that goodbye was. He overheard his parents on the phone when he was supposed to be sleeping. Shinso's dad had come back and murdered his mom with a kitchen knife. He never got the chance to show off his new haircut or even come out to her, and Izuku never got the chance to comfort him. Shinso was picked up by social services and taken to a foster home. The family was in a different city, so he was pulled out of school too. Izuku didn't see his friend again for a long, long time. This concludes Chapter 15 of The Second Life of the Guardian. I hope you enjoyed this one. I wrote an author's note that would be easier to read instead of explain again, so here it goes. I tried to have Shinso talk about his gender in a way a 5, almost 6-year-old would. A child his age wouldn't quite understand gender, what dysphoria means, or why they want to be another gender. A trans child his age might already know, on some level, that their gender doesn't line up with their body, but they wouldn't know how to express that. They would, however, understand that it wasn't normal, for lack of a better word, especially if their parents made comments about trans people or about their child only having boy/girl toys/clothes. Kids understand a lot more than adults give them credit for. They hear what is said around them, so be mindful of your words. That's it for that. Next chapter should be up soon. Thank you so much for listening.